And the connection between the circular economy that we really want and health, the best thing would be if you could go into a store where there only will be sustainable and healthy choices to buy. This, we will run out of resources. We need to make sure we use the things that we already have on the planet. So it has a very, very strong connection to our health. Meat that comes out from the rainforest in Brazil, for instance, horrible. It shouldn't even exist in the stores.
There is no healthy me without a healthy planet. To achieve long-term individual health, it's important to recognize ourselves and our well-being as a part of a larger system. Our body, mind, heart, and soul only thrive in a thriving planet Earth.
We need to have facts. So that's scary. Now, I mean, we are in a bad situation. We have a climate emergency going on. But I think the beautiful thing about circular economy is that it has a lot of hope, because it's not about stopping doing things. It's doing things much more efficiently and better. I have a really good example of that. If you look what's happening now when it comes to circular economy and food, beautiful, and it's very healthy food, and it's better than organic. It's been an amazing journey to be on, big shift going on. But when it comes to health, actually, I think it's very good that you're doing this, because we need to talk about this much more.
My guest today is Elin Bergman. She is one of the co-founders of the Nordic Circular Hotspot and currently serves as the COO and spokesperson of the Swedish Circular Economy Network, CradleNet. She is a powerhouse, inspiring, and knows how to connect the dots between circular economy, sustainability, and well-being. Hello, Elin. Wonderful to have you in our Energy Lab podcast. I'm looking forward to learning and sharing more about you and your ventures. I was looking at your website, what you're doing. It's super inspiring. So I'm sure there are a lot of nice messages that we can spread here. And before we jump to the first questions, I prepare a couple of questions for us. I would love to ask you, which are 3 words or adjectives that best describe you?
I guess I'm an enthusiastic circular economy environmentalist.
And actually, circular economy is one word that many people hear and probably have been, hearing around, know a little bit. But maybe you can describe or explain us a little bit more of what is it, and also how it affects, in particular, the individual health and well-being. How is it related? We talk about holistic well-being. Where is the linking point?
Good question. So first of all, I always talk about the linear economy, which is the current economy we have at the moment, and it's not sustainable. We take a lot of resources out of the ground. It's usually oil to make plastics, and that we make energy from, and we make things to last not a very long time. Bad quality things that breaks fast, and then you just discard it or throw it away. It ends up in a garbage heap somewhere. And we keep digging new things so we can make new horrible things that breaks, and just do that as we wouldn't have a problem with resources in the future. If we keep doing this, we will run out of resources. And the circular economy is something different. It's like, how can we design things so we don't have waste? Because waste is just precious resources that are valuable in the wrong place, basically. So 100 years ago, there were no waste. We didn't have garbage heaps. Everything was used. So we need to go back to that, but in a modern way. And that's what the circular economy is about. It's like, how can we keep the value of materials and things for such a long time as possible without doing any harm to the planet or the people living on the planet? And that means we can keep digging things out of the ground, metals, minerals, fossil fuels, and so on. We need to make sure we use the things that we already have on the planet in a much better way. Make things to last a very long time and keep the value as long as possible. And the connection between the circular economy that we really want and health is because how we're abusing the planet right now in the linear economy. It creates a lot of environmental issues and problems, like, for instance, pollution. We have climate change. Like I said, we're running out of some precious resources, but also when we dig all of these things out of the ground, we dig mines, and that's just full of toxic heavy metals and minerals and things that are not good for your health. So everything we do that's not in a natural ecosystem, it's bad for us, basically. So it has a very, very strong connection to our health. And I mean, right now we have the renewable energy transition going, and we need to make sure that we have solar panels and wind power mills and electric cars and everything. But there's a big resource extraction that's needed to make all of these car batteries and electric vehicles and copper to have wind power mills and everything. So we need to make sure like we don't create new problems even when we go into the renewable energy sector. And we really need to focus on where we best use these precious materials that are needed, and how can we do such little harm on the planets and humans as possible.
Yeah, I think the biggest conversation is, a bit of background on the automotive. It's, the electric cars and everything. You find solutions to things that actually are then need to be understood better and going deeper, because what looks in the surface good is many times not really what is the most sustainable. But of course, that's one example. The other example, like on the health, I always think about, due to my background in nutrition, on the food industry, and as well on the relationship of animal agriculture. And every time we think we do something good for us, like meat, proteins, all the people that are very hot in supporting things like carnivore diet or keto crazy stuff, it's another thing that people don't think of, because we don't talk about it. We talk about the electric cars, right, or the energy, but there are many other things that we can do in our daily life, right, like choices. So I think it's more about, I guess, behavior, right? So the challenge, it's about how can people first know and then as well change behavior. I guess this is like one of the biggest challenges, at least from what I see from my side.
Well, I usually say like the best thing would be for people to not be able to just have to make decisions. I mean, the best thing would be if you could go into a store where there only will be sustainable and healthy choices to buy. Why would there be a choice that is not good for me or the planet to buy? So that's where legislation and regulation comes in. So of course you should be able to buy some potato chips sometimes, but it may be, I mean, the worst things that really destroys the planet, like meat that comes out from the rainforest in Brazil, for instance, horrible. It shouldn't even exist in the stores, and it shouldn't even be produced. So there are so many examples that we just should take out of the whole equation.
Yeah. I think that that's a good point. The choices that we have, right? But then it's about as well the ones that we take, because of course the offer is always there. There's that's, I don't know if there will be a world where there's only the selection of things that people don't need to change. Probably not, because of a free market and the choice that people can make. But then the other thing is the how can we without being extreme, because I'm not a fan of extreme things, but how can we as well make that awareness, or bring people the right information and talk more about things, maybe create more, I don't know if the movement is the right word, but create something that is more popular than a couple of people in the industry meeting for things. So going more into the mass. How is it that possible without making like scaring people with the consequence? And that's one question that I keep on asking myself. So I'd love to hear your opinion, because people, when it's like, don't do this is bad, this is all the negativity, and creates more anxiety and creates more resistance. And with resistance, we don't go sometimes far away, but with inspiration, probably we can reach a little bit more. So what's your opinion on this?
Well, I think a bit of, we need to have facts. So that's scary. Now, we are in a bad situation. We have a climate emergency going on. But I think the beautiful thing about circular economy is that it has a lot of hope, because it's not about stopping doing things. It's doing things much more efficiently and better. So it has a lot of energy, and it contains a lot of fantastic new business models and new inventions and innovations and things, which is making it so much more beautiful than just stop, because companies don't understand the word stop, really. So this is what I really love about it. And when it comes to, how to make people change, I think I have a really good example of that. It's not about food though, but I mean, if you look at before, when you wanted to consume movies or music, for instance, you had to go to a store. You had to either buy or rent movies or buy DVDs and things, or CDs. And it was a big struggle. And it took up a lot of space in your home, and they get scratches. You had to buy new ones. And it was like, the amount of plastic we were just carrying around to listen to music or watch movies, horrible. Now we have Spotify, we have Netflix, and we have all these streaming services, and it's available in your phone any day of the week. You can have billions of movies and music just at the tip of your hand. Who wants to go back to the old stuff, right? It's making your life so much easier and better. I don't think we have a good solutions for food yet when it comes to digitalization and then the future. Because right now, if you use Fedora or DoorDash, it just makes people lazier. They should go out and exercise, actually. So it's good to go to the store or to the restaurant and get your food. But I think there will be some solutions in the future. If you look what's happening now when it comes to circular economy and food, it's mostly connected to regenerating things. So it's like regenerative farming, regenerating agriculture land, and so on. And that's when you take, the conventional agriculture land, even depleted. You can actually start, which they're doing now in Portugal and Spain, for instance. They're taking depleted farmland that's basically is a stone desert, and they can regenerate the whole land. And it takes like about 18 months to take this desertification soil to make it grow again. And that's a system where you take trees and you plant them at special food and nutrient trees. And in between those trees, you grow food. And that actually binds the carbon in the ground, and it makes the soil healthy again. It can make the plants grow. But the coolest thing is, if you keep doing this for a longer time, even the rain comes back, because, forests, it creates rain. And you can make these whole deserts green again. And it's beautiful, and it's very healthy food, and it's better than organic. And it's also very good for climate change, because it binds a lot of carbon in the ground. So it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Nature always finds a way if we give it the space, right? The thing is, when we try to control, design, and do everything, and we don't leave the space, then at the end, it's worse for us. We always think we can control everything. But when we give the land the right time, and it regrows. So nature always has a solution when we live it. Yeah, that's a wonderful example. The regenerative agriculture is such a fascinating and amazing thing that it should spread like everywhere. I think Spain, Portugal are good starters. I think there's everywhere potential, but it's good that there are examples of people that are starting to create their more facts. As you said, facts are the most important thing. So not only talk about it, how it could work, but do things, try, experiment. That's the way that we can get improvements. I'm curious about your health, fitness, and nutrition. Like somebody was like you, always looking for that balance with nature and everything that is on that circular economy. How does your routine in terms of well-being looks like? Any specifics, habits, routines?
Yeah, I became a vegetarian 23 years ago, so I eat only vegetarian. I do eat some dairy, some cheese and dairy products, some eggs. Sometimes I try to avoid as much as I can. I mostly, like, if I buy my own things, it's always Oatly or something vegetable based. But yeah, sometimes I'm doing this lecture tour now around the Southern Europe, and as soon as I came into Italy, it feels like I gained 5 kilos, because it's a lot of pasta, a lot of cheese here. So wonderful food. So I can sleep as well. And I think I need to go to France and become more healthier now after this. So the thing that I do every day, that's my thing, is that I walk. I walk around 10 to 15,000 steps a day. And if I do exercise, I do yoga. That's my go-to training all the time. Yeah, I love yoga.
Yeah, I discovered that a couple of years ago. That's so grounding. I used to be like not a fan of yoga, Then I met Marcus, he's a yoga teacher, and it was like, yeah, you need to try. But I think that's one of the most beautiful moments of the day when you can really like free up your mind and body. And walk, it's as well my first thing in the morning. So you have through as well those weeks where you are working remotely and talking to what are conventions usually, or what kind of events are you to as keynote speaker?
Yeah, it could be conferences, it could be exhibitions, it could be different types of
Different.
stages. Yeah. So I'm going to Paris next, and I'm going to do this big high executive event with ministers and things. Yeah.
Okay, so you are as well keeping on with your routines and your habits, as I'm understanding,
Always,
also
every
with
day.
traveling.
I walk like 40 minutes before work. I usually walk during the lunch, and I always walk after work. So walking.
Fantastic. Yeah, movement is life. That's my credo.
Also, for me, nature is super important because I know when I'm in big cities, I'm not. I mean, I love Paris in many ways, but I would not like to live there because it has no actual real nature. It's mostly parks, and I'm always finding myself going to the green areas when I'm in big cities. But I'm always looking to go back to the ocean and see real nature. So usually I go to a bit smaller places where I can be close to the ocean and close to real nature. It's very important for me too, for well-being.
Yeah, wonderful. Do you see in the last, I have an extra question coming up in my mind. Do you see in the last few years, is there like a positive interest? Is there something moving in the right direction for greater awareness? Or what is your personal opinion on this, exactly on the relationship between our health, the health of the planet, and how people are changing? Are people changing, or is it the same? You are long in these topics in the circular economy. So you said 10 years plus, no, 10 years overall, right? So it's a long time. What happened in the last 10 years, if you have a throwback?
Well, when I started, nobody knew what circular economy was. Nobody was talking about this. So every time I was doing a lecture, I always asked people to raise their hand. Do you know what circular economy is? Nobody, maybe one person. And when I asked that person, can you tell me what circular economy is? And they was like, it's recycling, right? And it's like, no, it's not recycling. Recycling is a small part of it, but it's like the last thing you should do because it's about like keeping the value of materials and things. And like I said, so it's a lot of things before recycling, even if recycling is important too. But now when I'm out speaking, everybody knows. They either heard about it or working on it. So it's the knowledge is, I mean, it's been amazing journey to be on. It's fantastic to see because I can see that my work that I've been working on for such a long time really do change, and everybody's on it. And now it's one of the biggest, where LinkedIn, for instance, they can measure what expertise the big companies are looking for, and circular economy expertise is one of the most sought after, titles to find. So it's a very good business to be in right now. And we also have a lot of legislation. The EU have made this circular economy action plan, and now every company in the European Union basically needs to start reporting on circular economy as well. So it's a big shift going on. But when it comes to health, actually, the first time I went to an event that I was speaking in a panel where they had the connection between circular economy and health was last spring. I never been an event connected to our personal health or human health before. So it's way too little talked about this. I think it's very good that you're doing this because we need to talk about this much, much more.
Oh, that's good that you're saying. I had the same feeling, and at the beginning, I was doubting myself. It's like, am I connecting things that like are only in my mind? But then it was a stupid question for myself because I mean that it's so obvious, right? It's so obvious.
Absolutely.
But we tend to separate everything. Is it like going first inside in ourselves before looking at the external world? We separate mind, body, soul, everything. Like I take care of my body, and they probably may take care of my mental health, whatever. Like separating. But actually, nothing is separated, and we are not separated from where we live. Otherwise, we'll be every person in this world, and it's not, luckily, otherwise it would be super boring. Can you imagine? So I really hope that exactly this linking points bring that interest. Unfortunately, as human being, we are kind of egoistic. Like, I don't know, I don't want to talk to everybody. That's my opinion, but it's not like one truth. But maybe we should go into exactly that egoistic to leverage that. Yes, it's about me, but it's about me here and now with other people. So talking about this, one question it would be as well: how can you, or what would you advise? What would you advise to somebody in his daily life? Anything that you think of small things, what would be like the things that each of us should really take seriously and start improving, change?
Good question. I think it's a very fitting day because today is the International Day of Food Waste. And I think that's a big, big thing. I mean, a third of all the food that we grow on this planet, we throw away. A third of everything grown. So what we need to do is really look at, like, what do we get home? How do we, what do we do? Do we first of all need to cook so much of the food that we have, so we have leftovers? And if we do have leftovers, what do we do with them? Do we throw it away, or do we save them to eat them the next day, and so on? And also, we really need to learn how to understand if the food is good or bad to still eat after a while in the fridge, for instance, because that's one of the big things. Like, oh, I ate this, I made this 3 days ago, it's probably bad, I throw it away. But most things last more than a week. So it's about, like, we need to relearn again what we used to know, that we need to smell things, we need to touch, taste them, and and look at them. If they're not moldy, even if it looks good and it smells good and it tastes good, then it's okay to eat. So we just relearn the old things that we knew before.
Yeah, I'm super aligned with what you said, and I was mentioning that for me, it's like every time I see like somebody wasting food, I really feel bad. I grew up in a family where this was like something that was no way, like this part of kind of I don't know if it's a value, probably can be linked to a value, but it's definitely a very good habit to value the resources that we have. Thank you for that. That's a very important point. One last question that I would like to ask you is, do you have a life mantra, like something that you feel like this is you?
Well, I think one of the big things that I think it's very important in my life is that I really live as I learn, because I'm out speaking, public speaking all the time. And I usually get this question on the stage, like, so what do you do personally? And I always say, like, hey, I am a vegetarian. I don't fly anywhere. I stopped flying 10 years ago. I take the train everywhere. I don't shop. I try to only buy secondhand if I buy something, and so on. So I really try to live as I learn as much as possible. And if I eat, I try to eat organic and as healthy as possible, and so on.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I see you walk the talk. That's the sentence that I was thinking about before. That's really nice. Thank you so much. It's very inspiring what you're doing. I hope you can keep on doing your, all the chances you have to sparkle a little bit more of the wonderful inspiration you're giving. And I'm very grateful that you share a little bit of what you do. Circular economy, it's definitely not unknown word anymore, but I'm sure there's still a lot of work that you will do, and you're doing greatly to make it a reality and make this a better world. Thank you so much, Elin. It was really nice talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy my chat with Elin and learn something new. Change starts from each and every one of us. And together we can lead by example, especially when it comes down to improving something in our daily lives to limit our impact on our planet. Because our well-being and holistic fitness are deeply interconnected with the well-being of our planet. It's kind of symbiotic relationship. We thrive when our planet thrives. Our planet is the only home we got. our well-being depends on it. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we can start to thrive.